we have Senator Cindy Carlson, who is also sits on the Senate Education Committee, and I know that this particular issue is of importance to her and her constituents, and so I'm really thrilled to invite her onto the program to get her reaction and what she thinks the House might do, and what happens when it gets to the Senate. So, Representative Carlson, welcome to the program. Have you had a chance to hear about this bill?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Great. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think so far?
I think it's uh, in my opinion, it doesn't go far enough, but it's a good compromise, and I believe that we will pass this one through the legislature.
And last session, Governor Little vetoed it, and then it didn't. It wasn't overwritten in the if that's the right term in the House. Do you think the governor is going to have a hard time with this? It sounded like Representative Crane went to the governor and wanted to address some of his issues. Do you think that that was the compromise that you're looking at here?
Yeah, we've made a couple of compromises. One is lowering the damages to 250 from 2,500 to 250, and then giving a 30-day window for um, the parent to basically complain, and then the school, the institute, or the institution to address the issue. So I believe that 30-day window is actually what a lot of people were looking for.
Yeah. When it comes to that 30-day window, we heard some librarian or library board members speak today at the public hearing saying that they already have something like that in place at their library. Is this something that you just want codified into law, into statute, or do you think it's already? I mean, I don't think you already think that it's things are working, but if some libraries are already saying that they do have something like this, how effective do you think these 30-day notices are going to be?
Well, if we put it into law, it's going to require them to do that job. Right now we have libraries throughout the state sort of doing their own thing. This will basically state that this is what they need to do, and they need to put it up, and it needs to, it just puts boundaries around it so that we just don't have a free for all. Because right now we have a free for all. There's some libraries doing something, there's some doing nothing. It it gives the parents and the citizens of our state a chance to actually deal with the issue if if they find material there, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a hard push for any parent that decides to actually identify the problem and go after somebody, because I mean, it's going to be hard for parents, but it'll, in the end, I believe it's going to keep the school districts and the public libraries in check.
You represent one of the larger districts in Idaho here in terms of area. Um, during the off session after the veto happened, what was the reaction that you had from constituents across your district?
Most of the people in my district were not happy that it was vetoed. They want this, and I live in a pretty conservative district, and for the most part, most people really want this.
Um, for those folks that say, the parents should be the ones who are monitoring their children when they're in the library, and if a child picks up a book and naturally is put off by what they read or what they looked at, that they can just remember to not pick up that author's books again. Um, what are some of the answers to those things? Because as I've said throughout the program today, kids can't unsee things, and parents also can't be hovering over their children 24/7. So, what do you say to those folks that make those arguments?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the, the public libraries. The public libraries, for the most part, are being utilized by a lot of homeschoolers. And those homeschool parents, they yes, it's their job to make sure that their students and their kids are looking at the right thing, but we're trying to give them independence, right? We're trying to give them independence to go to the public library and do research. And the parent shouldn't, if the parent has five kids or four kids, they should be able to let them loose in the library and know that the information they're going to find is not going to be something that they have to monitor. When you get to the school libraries, um, parents are not able to be at schools. And so they have to trust the institution that they're not giving their students, their children information that they wouldn't want them to know. So it's twofold. So anyway, that's where we're at.
Yeah. No, that's great. All right. Well, everybody seems to expect that this is going to pass the House and then it'll head over to the Senate and go through one of the committees. Maybe it goes through education. Maybe it goes through the state affairs on that side. But do you feel like this has got a good chance in the Senate?
I do. I think it'll um I think last year it this whole year has been an eye opener to a lot of people throughout our state. A lot of people didn't were they were told that this stuff is not in our libraries. It is there. When people actually go and look in their libraries, they're finding it, and so they've basically been lied to. And so our senators, I believe that they will push this through and send the bill to the governor for signature.
Great. All right, Senator Carlson, how can people get in touch with you and follow you and support your efforts?
Well, I have a Substack newsletter that I do. I'm not that active on Facebook, but I do check it once in a while, and I do have a Twitter account. These are all things that I did not, these are skills that I did not need in my previous life as a business owner. And so, I would just like to tell people, bear with me. I do answer emails, but this is all thing I was a very successful business owner, still own my businesses. So the learning curve is pretty steep, but I'm working on it.
Well,
Be
good.
patient.
Absolutely, yeah. And I thank you for joining us. This is good. We'll have you back, and we'll make sure that people can follow you and reach out to you, even in the more traditional manners as well. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Senator.